As independent musicians, a lot of our work has to do with networking and building communication with various stakeholders in our careers. Now, ideally you'd have someone else like a manager do all this work, but realistically, independent musicians don't have this. So in this episode, I am going to highlight 5 issues I've seen with email communications that have stifled the communication with independent musicians. The very first one is irrelevant information. Now, this is very important because emails ideally should be short and concise, which means to the point, and you should be able to get the information, and the person must be able to get the information from your email fairly quickly. Sending an email, for example, to a radio station or record label, telling them about your upbringing, how you're struggling, what your dreams are, is probably irrelevant. If you are submitting to a radio station, for example, you basically want to tell them who you are, what the music is, and how that would fit in to their radio station. Ideally, you want to communicate with the people on the phone to understand what they require with the emails you send, but sending irrelevant information is one of the major issues I've seen with emails coming my way with regards to the music business. Number 2, inconsistent thought patterns or inconsistent emails. If you're working particularly with someone who has a tight deadline, for example, music publishers, they need quick and consistent communication to get things through the way. Or if you're taking long to respond to something that should take less than an hour, then you're considered as unreliable. And this mistake is crucial because if you have stakeholders who want to give you money and you take a week to respond to them, they're going to see you as not serious and all those other things associated with taking your time. So I highly suggest that for the important emails, you automate them and put them in a place where it's important, or you highlight those emails. Especially if you're using something like Gmail, you can put a star to make it an important email, so you're able to respond to those emails first and they jump out when you get responses from them. Another one is overloading the person who you're emailing. This may be very linked to the first objective, but the third one is you send too much information for the person to want to synthesize and respond to you. I get this a lot of the time where someone has an issue and they send maybe 20 lines of irrelevant information, and the crux of what they are emailing is only 2 lines. If I read through the whole thing, it would take me a minute or 2, but if they just sent me a brief introduction and their information, I'll be able to read and respond to all of it within a minute. So try be concise and consider who has to read this email. Keep emails generally short and to the point, and most of the time people will respond fairly quickly if you give them quick emails to respond to. What I'm getting to is people are constantly being overloaded with emails, so try not to bombard and to respond, and just follow up with a short email. There's especially with things like SAMRO. If you send them an email today, it's not really good to go back to them tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that with emails, because you will end up in the spam folder. So give at least a week or 2 for a response, and then follow up after the week or 2. Then you're not overloading the person you're emailing. They probably just missed it because they're receiving a lot of other emails. Last but not least, one issue I have seen, not everyone is fluent in the language they are emailing in. So I highly suggest you get someone to review, at least to double check. Even if they're not great, they may see things that you didn't see when you're emailing. Get someone to look at it, or use these other tools such as email templates, which would help you get through the basic structures of emails and get through the grammar issues that you may be having, since you may not be communicating in the language that you are emailing with. That may not be your first language. But if you want to know how many streams you need to get 1,000 Rand, you should watch this video.